Each of us can probably remember a person, a teacher, a family member, a friend, someone who offered something just when we needed it. A ride, a hug, a cup of tea, some act of kindness that offered not only comfort, but also connection. A reminder that whether by happenstance or design, we find ourselves with company. Let us be good company to one another, and let us be grateful that on life's journey we are blessed with such beautiful traveling companions. And let us be together in this moment of worship.
In a spirit of reverence, we acknowledge that we gather this morning on the land of the Kumeyaay. As we light this candle, we affirm our commitment to cultivate meaningful relationships with the people of this land and to work together for justice and equity.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego, where we worship each Sunday in the South Bay, in Hillcrest, and online. Our mission is to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values to help heal the world. I'm Barbara Morton. I use the pronoun she, her, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. If you are visiting, I want to extend a special welcome. We invite you to fill out the visitor card in your order of service and return it to the welcome table. If you are joining us online, you can also fill out a visitor card at the link on the live stream page or in the YouTube service description. We would love to connect with you. If you have been coming for a while and are starting to feel like this is your spiritual home, consider becoming a member of this beloved community. You can learn more about becoming a member at the welcome table or by contacting Valeria Aguilar, our membership coordinator.
Welcome to this space. Bring all of who you are and all the beauty of languages, cultures, and skin tones that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all of the ways you experience and express gender. In the beauty that is whom you love and how you love. In all the ways you live, move, and experience your embodied self. With all of the religious and ethical traditions that inform your spiritual life. Together may we live into our shared values with love at the center. Welcome.
And now we invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our church hymn in English and in Spanish.
Good morning, friends. Good morning. I'd like to invite any of the children or youth who would like to come up and join me for our time for all ages. And while they're on their way up, just like to point out, after service today during our second hour at 11:30, if you're a parent of an elementary or high school age youth, we have Parents Lounge in 114A. You can join Jim Davis in room 323 to learn about UU history. And then at 12:30, if you would like to join us in Bard Hall, we're going to watch Wicked Part 1. Good morning. So, friends, this morning we're thinking about the different ways that we accompany each other, that we are a community together, and also how we bring our different gifts and talents to help keep this community alive and running and doing the good stuff. And so the story I have today is about just that. It's called I Can Help. And here it goes. Uh-oh, I'm lost. I can help. Thank you, monkey. Uh-oh, I'm falling. I can help. Thank you, giraffe. Uh-oh, I can't reach. I can help. Thank you, gorilla. Uh-oh, I have a splinter. I can help. Thank you, sunbird. Uh-oh, I'm tired. I can help. Thank you, elephant. Uh-oh, I'm hot and thirsty. I can help. Follow me. Thank you, duck. You're welcome. Uh-oh, I'm lost again. We can help. The end. Right? Oh, that's a nice story. A short story. Oh, thanks. But I hope what you noticed is that all of the different animals were able to help in different ways. They all didn't have the same skills to be able to help in the same way, and they also needed help in different ways and asked for it. And I hope that's the kind of community we can be, to bring our different gifts to help each other and also to speak up and ask for help when we need it. So I need your help. Can you stand up with me up here, and we're going to lead the congregation in our affirmation. We'll say it first in English and then in Spanish. We are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands. Somos unitarios universalistas, personas de mentes abiertas, corazones amorosos y manos que dan la bienvenida. And I get to stay here today, friends, but I'm going to invite you to join your other leaders on the patio and head to your groups.
A few announcements. Lay ministers are available after the service to offer a listening presence if you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like to share. And this morning, our lay minister is Chris Smith. She's over there with the yellow stole. Also, if you're here on the Hillcrest campus, anytime during the service, you can go and light a candle and place it in the sand as a way to physically represent a joy or a sorrow that is on your heart. Following worship this morning, you heard some of the things that Tony mentioned. There's also announcements in your order of service. We have social hour in Bard Hall. And we invite you to consider joining our campus tour this morning, right after worship. This is a chance to see some of the many gems of this beautiful campus. Marge Werg will be leading our tour right after worship. She'll meet you up here. The big day, Dining for Dollars, bidding opens today. You can bid online through our website. There'll be a table in Bard Hall with printed booklets if you want to check out the offerings there, but bid often. And this is one of the ways that we both create community and raise money for our beloved congregation. So please join in that. One of the ways that we live our values is by sharing our offering each week with a local organization that shares our values, working for justice. Throughout the month of October, we will be sharing our weekly offering with the Interfaith Shelter Network, ISN. ISN has been opening their doors for nearly 4 decades. Through their rotational shelter program, they offer more than just a place to sleep. Individuals and families experiencing homelessness receive meals, hygiene support, transportation, and case management, all within the safety and dignity of a welcoming faith community. This year, First UU has partnered with the network as a support congregation. You can give through text to give. The number's on your screen. You can also donate this morning in person through cash or check. Toward the middle area of the sanctuary, there are boxes to receive those offerings. You can also donate online on our website, firstuusandiego.org. As always, we thank you for your generosity. The morning offering will now be joyfully given and gratefully received.
Our offering music today is Us. You can remain seated if you would like to, and we will sing this 3 times, in English, in Spanish, and then in both languages together. Pick one. Building your anticipation.
From you I receive, to you I recibo a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. De ti recibo a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. De ti yo recibo a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
As a kid, middle school was rough. I was very, very, very loved, but I had no real friends my own age. I didn't fit in, and I spent a lot of time in the house by myself. It was generally a pretty painful time. And during that time, church, and particularly the choir loft, was my safe space. It was my community, and the choir were my friends. And as we think today about how to become creators and stewards of the kind of community that sustains and nourishes us, I'd like to offer 3 ways that I think the choir did that for me, and wonder with you about how we do some of the same things here and how we could do more of it. So first, there were the people. We didn't really think about diversity overtly back then, at least not in Catholic South Baltimore. But the choir loft was the most diverse, multi-general space in the church, and really in my entire life experience up to that point. Typical choir, there weren't many guys, but among them were Mr. Lou, who was from Puerto Rico, and he was the only Latino man that I knew up until that point, and Jerry, who was the only black man that I had encountered in real life up to that point in my life. There were 2 altos, my mother, who was the next youngest person in the choir, and Sister Kathleen. And then there were about 12 to 15 sopranos, all of whom were my grandmother's or even great-grandmother's age. Even though I was the youngest person by about 25 years, they made me feel like an equal. There was never a sense that they were holding back or felt stifled by this child's presence among them. I was just one of them. And I wonder if we're creating those same kind of multi-generational experiences here, and I wonder how we could do that better. The second thing that made the choir such an important community for me was the music. It created a safe space for me to be authentically me, but in a way that no one planned. And if I'm being honest, if they knew about it, they probably wouldn't have done it. So let me give you an example. Our handbell choir this morning played a prelude, "The King of Love My Shepherd Is." Now, I found out as an aside that some of our handbell ringers were calling this the Yoda song because of the way the title is worded. "The King of Love My Shepherd Is." Right? So you didn't get to hear the lyrics, but it's basically a poetic interpretation of the 23rd Psalm. That's "The Lord is my shepherd, valley of death," etc., etc. But here's the first verse as I sang it as a kid. "The King of love my shepherd is, whose goodness fails me never. I nothing lack if I am his, and he is mine forever." Those words, They might not sound that special to you, and maybe they're a little too traditionally churchy for us in this congregation, but imagine how they may have resonated for a little gay 12-year-old in 1985. In every other area of my life, I had to hide a significant part of who I was to fit in. There were men on TV dying horrible deaths from a mysterious new disease that seemed to happen to people like me. But once a week, I got to sing love songs unapologetically to the one male figure that I was allowed to gush about in public. And even better, I was told over and over and over and over again that this guy, this good shepherd, this radical first century rabbi loved me unconditionally. It was pretty amazing. We certainly, I don't think, would sing that particular song with those particular words. And there are really good reasons we would change some of those words. But there's always a trade-off. And I wonder if there are other little boys like me, even in liberal San Diego in 2025, who never get to sing love songs to their divine masculine. I wonder how we create opportunities for folks here to bring their full selves to church. And I wonder who we include and exclude, even without meaning to. And there's one more way that both the music and the theology created that space for me to be authentically me. And as an example, let me share the third verse of that same song. Perverse and foolish oft I strayed, but yet in love he sought me, and on his shoulder gently laid, and home rejoicing brought me. Perverse and foolish. That's some more language that I don't think we would use here. We do really well with inherent worth and dignity, but not so well with perverse and foolish. We might talk about injustice and systemic issues in ways that my childhood congregation would not. I don't think they could talk about it honestly then. But they were much better at recognizing the everyday human ways that we can all sometimes just be dumb butts, right? I mentioned how this choir of people my mother and grandmother's age accepted and loved me unconditionally. But as a 12 to 14-year-old in that environment, I'm sure there were times when I was just an insufferable little snot. But there's a silver lining to having a theology of original sin. This was the Catholic Church. There's the assumption that we're all going to be perverse and foolish sometimes. And so there's a commensurate grace that balances that out. We learned to allow for imperfection and to be in relationship with each other anyway. And I wonder how we do that here and how we might do more of it. If that choir loft hadn't been open to being a multi-generational space, or hadn't been a place where we both loved and sometimes put up with each other, or hadn't been a place where I could express my authentic self, even if it was in private, I'm almost certain that I would not be here today. And I think we have an equally awesome community here that's capable of being that kind of sustaining, nurturing, life-giving force for good in the lives of us individually and in the life of the world. But it does not happen by accident. It takes stewardship. It takes our time, our talent, our hard work, and yes, even our money. So as we continue to think about what this congregation needs to sustain it well into the future, I hope you'll join me in being one of those stewards. One more voice in that choir that will keep the music alive for the next little kid whose life depends on us being here.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Ormond, and I use the pronouns she and her. I am the chair of this year's Pledge Committee. Thank you. And last spring, when I asked my dear friend, Karen Lamphere, our esteemed president, I said to her, you know, numbers are not my friend. And she said, you don't need to be good with numbers. And it's true, I have a great committee with Sue Marbury, Andy Swanson, and Louise Klinke, and of course, Reverend Justine and Robbie. Okay, so I don't have to be good with numbers. I became a member of this church in 2014, but I was raised at the Tacoma Unitarian Church and had not regularly been to church since I was 14. I always considered myself a Unitarian, but I was worried that if I joined a church, they'd expect me to do something. So I waited till I got here, and I was so desperately homesick for Southeast Michigan, where I'd lived for over 30 years, and the library where I'd been for 27 years, that I said to my husband, who was not even sick, I said to him, if you die, I'm moving back to Michigan. Well, he got sick, and he did die. But I'm here because I need you. And as a secular Unitarian, I often make the joke that this church has been a godsend to me. So it is with joy that I offered to be the chair of the Pledge Committee, and Reverend Justine told me that in all her years and in all her churches, no one had ever sent her an email saying, I want to be the chair of the Pledge Committee. So please don't make me regret this choice. Now, you'll be getting an invitation from me to join others in small group meetings here on our beautiful campus, and there are different days and different times, and we'll even have Zoom meetings. And I'll bake cookies. So look for your email, look in your email from something from me, and we will get together and discuss reasons why we love this church. And I think today's spectacular service has shown you how some of us love this church. So I look forward to seeing you. Oh, and I have to say, if you are one of those people who always waits to the very last minute to pledge, remember that pledging is just a promise. It doesn't mean you have to pay any time right now. If you wait to the end of the year to see what your finances are like, that's perfectly fine. But we want you all to promise. And if you can, because everything is more expensive now than it was not so long ago, nudge that pledge up just a little and give from the heart. Thank you very much.
It's true, no one has ever volunteered to lead the pledge drive, just unsolicited, wrote to me, and I had to rub my eyes. Did I read this correctly? And it's a delight. So So I get to bat cleanup. But is that too soon for you Padres fans to use baseball metaphor? I'm a Red Sox fan, so this is often a sad time of year. Now we go on to say, beat the Yankees. Oh, thank you. That feels like love. You know, they say that every minister has one sermon that they just give. That doesn't mean you can leave, though. I mean, how many notes in Western music, right? But we still listen to the whole song. We want to see how it's going to end. How are they going to get there? Last night, Dale and I went and saw the play Suffs, which is about the suffragist movement. Amazing. It's closing tonight, but if you get a chance to see it sometime, I highly recommend it. And it was so powerful. We were sitting next to a couple, a man and a woman, and when the final note was sounded, the woman and I leapt to our feet, tears in our eyes, applauding, and her husband said, "It was too long." And I said, "I know, 9 innings. Who needs 9 innings? Just flip a coin, you know?" How am I going to land the plane from that takeoff? I do this to myself. So yes, I was saying that every minister has one sermon, and Reverend Kathleen, our beloved retired minister, might be able to tell us at some point what her sermon has generally been. If you remember the sermons of Carolyn Owens Toll, I think her sermon would be, there is beauty in the world, and there must be beauty in the world, and we must do all we can to preserve and create beauty. And Reverend Kristen might say, we can heal the world, but first we have to attend to our own spirits and our own bodies and make sure that we are prepared to do the work of healing the world. And I think for me, the sermon that I often come back to, I certainly believe in beauty and healing ourselves to be a healing presence in the world, but it's that the world can often present painful experiences. There is cruelty, there is hatred, there is suffering, and yet we have one another on the journey to ease our suffering and to create beauty and to make the world a better place. And isn't it miraculous, not just that we have one another, but that our hearts ache for one another? Sometimes the deepest source of hope I can find is that our own aching hearts are evidence of our connection to one another. So unfortunately, there is no shortage of opportunities to be reminded of that connection, right? Because there's so much that breaks our hearts. But if you believe, as I do, that we need communities like this one, communities that offer a space for people of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all perspectives to be together. I'm remembering that a few weeks ago we hosted that memorial service for Everardo, and I think I mentioned this before, but we had ladies from selling Tupperware to bears in San Diego and from coming down from San Francisco. This rainbow of people that joined together in this safe space and all felt welcome. There is something magical here that is worth preserving. So I ask you to give a gift that makes your heart glad, and that you know that you are doing all that you can to make sure that this place exists, not just for us, for each other, for me, but for those who might come after us, for the 12-year-old child who doesn't quite feel at home in the world, but comes here and knows that they are loved just as they are. About 30 years ago, I was in graduate school for social work, and I had pursued social work because of the AIDS crisis. I had been a manager in high tech, and I had this employee who became very ill, and I realized that I didn't really want to be his manager. I wanted to help heal him. I wanted to be a healing presence in his life, and I didn't yet know about ministry, so I chose social work. And I was in social work school, and I was walking down the street, and I was unemployed, so I didn't have much money, but I was on my way to church. I'm not making this up. And I saw a $20 bill on the sidewalk. and there was no one around. There was nobody to give it to. It was mine. I picked it up. And before it was in my pocket, I had that $20 spent. Dale will agree that that's probably how I would roll. She would save it. I'd be like, ooh, what can I get with this found money? You know, I was thinking about buying a book that wasn't assigned for any class, or some music, or maybe going out for a meal after worship. And so I was feeling very wealthy. And I walked into the church service, and the service began. And I had found Unitarian Universalism also because of the AIDS crisis. I was unchurched, but there were these people that showed up at our marches. They cared for our sick and dying brothers. They let us use their space. And I wanted to know who these church people were that were so welcoming. And I went to my first service, and kind of like that song that Tony shared with us this morning, there was a hymn called Bring Many Names. And I still cannot sing that hymn without weeping. The idea that there were all these different facets of the holy that were available to us. So my heart was very full, and I was in the service, and then it came time for the offering. The plate came around. I reached into my pocket, took that 20 out, and put it right in the plate. And it felt so good. And I have remembered that moment of being able to be generous long after I would have, forgotten about the book I read, or the song I heard, or the meal that I enjoyed. I remembered what it felt like to give what I had to a place, to an experience that meant so much to me. So that is the spirit with which I want you to give. Don't give out of a sense of obligation. Give because we must be here. Give because we must be here for those who need us in this beautiful and aching world. So answer the email from Sarah, and I will just add one kind of technical note. Why does it matter to pledge? I always give. Well, we base our budget on the pledge. So what has happened every year in my memory here is that we set a goal for the pledge drive. Maybe we come in a little bit under, but we have to do a budget based on that number, and we maybe have to cut some things or pull in reserves. And then later in the year, the pledges go up because people now have a better sense of their finances, and we can restore the cuts. But that's a lot of extra work. It means doing the budget twice. It means being anxious that we're not going to have enough. Because the thing is, even though the money is always there, we can't go to the congregation at the annual meeting and say, the money's always there. We have to present a balanced budget. So make your best estimate, keep track of what you've pledged, and if your situation changes, you can revise it. You can always revise it upward, and you can revise it downward. But what we really need is for everyone within the hearing of my voice, in this building, out on the patio, or watching at home, to make a pledge that makes your heart glad, and then we will have enough to serve the mission and vision of this congregation to help make the world more beautiful, more just, more loving. Thank you for being here for each other, for me, and for the future Tonys of the world who will need us one day. Blessed be.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Walking with You. Walking, walking with you, walking with you is my prayer. Walking, walking with you, walking with you is my prayer.
Let us go forth from this place knowing that we are held in love and community. And may today fill your heart with love and joy. Go in peace, my friends.